those who are thinking it's AI, I really walked side by side with lions. And this is also a great experience of humanity, being humble, being also patient, and to accept and to respect the mother nature, which is very important when we talk about conscious leadership also, that we will see later on. So then in India in 2024, destiny struck again at the wedding that bridged Mexico and India, which is incredible, right? Who has been in an Indian or Mexican wedding before in the room? Raise your hand. 2 persons. Okay. So I met there our dear Professor Kumar, and a conversation that became a turning point. We spoke about humanity. We spoke about forgiveness. We spoke about a sacred leadership. That encounter reminded me that Africa and Asia share the same soul, the same spirit, the same history, the same challenges. In terms of ancient, in terms of poetic, and endlessly young. Can you move a little more? So, why this caravan matters, and why is it born today as a collective space? It was born in travels, in tears, and in laughers. It was born from also the belief that leadership is not about titles or visibility. We're not here talking about leadership of TikTok or Instagram. We're here to talk about the real leadership. The real leadership is coming from a vision that we cannot really imagine, coming from your own and inner vision. It was born also from the belief that leadership is about service, is about courage, and the art of inspiring others to rise, to become great persons, great people, great souls, great leaders, great entrepreneurs, great artists, great comedians, whatever you want to become, just do it with passion and grace. So as a coach, as an actress, and as a mother of 3, I have seen how difficult it's for women in Morocco, in Africa, in all over the world. Youth and visionaries to hold on to their dreams in a world that constantly tests us and challenges us. So this caravan was born through co-leadership, through movement, collaboration, and courage. It's the result of many hearts and hands. Volunteers, artists, entrepreneurs, dreamers. Of course, it was made possible thanks to the collective energy of Co-Leaders for Africa, but also of the Moroccan Volunteer Collective, CMV, le Collectif Marocain du Volontariat, held by Mr. Mahmoud Aliwa. He is not with us today, and he is in the Wisdom, but joining us in the other steps, other cities. Thanks to Kamini Lab here, represented by, of course, Manon. She's not with us, but also represented by her co-founder. He will give words later on. Thank you for coming all over from Mexico and contributing to this amazing journey. Thanks a lot. Thanks to all our partners who gave their time, their faith to this sacred and to share this vision. Why India? Of course, I gave some examples just to let you know, to give you an image. The sum of population of India equal to the whole population of all Africa, 54 countries, equals 1.6, 1.4 billion people in India. We have the same challenges, but India is making an amazing work in terms of innovation, in terms of research, in terms of culture, and this is why we are honoring India today to discover, to learn, to co-create, and to share. This vision comes from the Green March to the Future. Of course, as you know, Gandhi started his March of Salt, c'est la Marche du Sel, for those who don't know about it, in 1930 in India. And this year we celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Green March, which is a march of courage, unity, and vision. So I will stop here. Thank you for listening. I just want to add a last word. Every leader searching for meaning here, this is your mirror. This is the place where you could find yourself, ask questions, suggest, and share all your visions and your thoughts. We're not here to compete, we're here to co-lead, to co-create, to co-innovate. The legacy we begin today, my parents taught me discipline, thanks to them. Thanks to my mentors who taught me wisdom. Thanks to my daughters who remind me every day to dream without limits. So today I ask you to walk within me, not behind, not ahead, just together. Let's plant the seeds of connection, of compassion. Let's create bridges, because leadership is not a destination. It's not a title, it's a journey. And this is only the beginning. Thank you and welcome to
they will discover, maybe you children, maybe your grandchildren will discover. But until that time, surely we can celebrate that we are the only ones who have life here. What incredible that we are sitting here. That there are other things, the butterflies and peacocks and hummingbirds and deers and so many beautiful things. The place I live in India, in my balcony sometimes I get peacocks in my balcony. I don't know how many of you have seen a peacock. Beautiful, beautiful bird. And sometimes I say, what is the peacock thinking about us humans? They must think we are dull. We fight over little color, little difference of color. Look at me. How many beautiful colors I have. So look at us. Truly, we need to get over stinginess, our smallness. We need to discover our generosity, our greatness. This is truly the message, I feel. And it's a message coming from all great sages and mystics, from Christ, from Muhammad, from Prophet Muhammad, from Krishna. And everywhere, truly, that's the real message. We need to get over smallness and then see the great grandeur of the sun and to celebrate life. Truly celebrate life. I feel, let me just mention to you, my training is I'm a nuclear physicist. I grew up, I studied PhD, did my PhD in Canada in nuclear physics. And I was quite good at it. And I was invited by India's first atom bomb. They were making the atom bomb. And I said, thought about it myself. So whatever little knowledge I have, I don't want to use it for destruction. Why do we need atom bombs? Why do we need to kill each other? Truly, how stupid. And one of the great men I admire very much is a black leader from USA, Martin Luther King. In 1964, when he saw what incredible destruction was going on by America in Vietnam, wars and destruction, he said something very important, very beautiful. He said, we have guided missiles and misguided men. You know, these days, some young men or women, 20-year-olds sitting in California, sending bombs, missiles, and destroying people in Iran. They think, well, it's pretty groovy. Oh, I can do it on a computer. You don't have to send horses or elephants or soldiers to kill. So we have guided missiles, drones, which can go 10,000 kilometers. And we think, oh, we are pretty smart. We can do this. But real knowledge, real is how to love people 10,000 kilometers away rather than destroy them. And people who may be strangers, we don't know their language, we don't know what food they have, what clothes they wear. But nevertheless, we say, we discovered brotherhood and sisterhood. So Martin Luther King said this in 1964, 60 years ago. He says, we have guided missiles and misguided men. We don't know. And who should guide us? Truly, each one of us, you young people, I urge you, each one of us, you should have somebody, one person, two persons. and think what gives us fulfillment, happiness, joy. And I tell you, simplest of things give you more joy than having a bigger house or a car. This is my life. So this is my opening points, and I hope it is to be introduced in every culture, in every society, in every part of the world. Whether you live in a village or you live in a city, you can live in a city of 10 million people and feel very lonely, unconnected. I have a daughter, I have two daughters in Canada, and sometimes my daughter tells me, Papa, I'm feeling lonely. And I said, what do you do? How do you get over loneliness? So I said, why don't you start a little club? Every Sunday you meet and have food together, share your poetry, your music, your conversation, your laughter, what you're doing, sharing, create a thing like this. And you have to learn to connect with each other. Otherwise, people are lonely everywhere. In Russia, I've been to Moscow, I've been to Beijing. Many good achievements. But also we should learn how to live. The greatest art is the art of living. How do we learn to live? That's the greatest art. Truly, much greater than making paintings and sculptures and so on. They say an artist is not a special kind of man. Every man is a special kind of artist. An artist is not a special kind of man. Every man is a special kind of artist. What is an artist? To create, to see the wonder of creation. You look at a leaf and say, how beautiful. You look, I was in Ecuador and they have 132 kinds of hummingbirds. What a beautiful world. Incredible. So really, everything around us is full of beauty and wonder. And we should learn, whether you're an engineer, or a doctor, teaching literature or philosophy. So these are the real messages that I introduce. Okay, so I'm going to stop there.
Thank you so much, Professor Kumar. Thank you for humbling us. And it was amazing because I was looking at everybody's face and we were literally hearing your voice and looking inside of each one of us. And that's probably the message that we're going to keep from what you say. How do we make sure that we find the light that is within each
Actually, I didn't decide, it just happened organically. And now I'm observing that I had to be here. And I meet some people every day, and they're like, oh, why did you leave the US? Why did you come back? Why? Nobody can understand but me, right? I know I have a mission. I'm not here to make only money and have big house and big things, but each one of us has a mission. We are here to make an impact, and when we have an impact and we leave something behind us, then we are remembered. You were talking about Dr. Martin Luther King, right? We're still talking about him. We're still talking about Mahatma Gandhi, right? We had the conversation earlier. And I think that when we have a purpose that's bigger than us, there's that intrinsic motivation that makes us wake up every morning with some energy. There are difficult days where we're like, I don't feel like moving out of bed, but then when you remember those things, those projects you have to work on, and that impact, and those people you need to help and guide, then there's that energy that brings you out of bed. And this goes along with the long question you asked me, right? I used to work on brains, human brains from people who committed suicide and compare them with the brains of people who died by normal death. And actually, suicidal behavior is linked to many chemical things happening in the brain, but also to what we tell ourselves, right? How are we talking to our brains? Are we talking positively, or are we being negative? And the way we talk to our brain impacts our overall energy, impacts how we act, impacts how we connect to people, how people feel or do not feel the need to talk to us or connect with us. So the brain, the heart, the mind, everything is connected. And with the mission in mind and the purpose in mind, we can create so many things, right? I guess we all lived in different continents, right? I started here in Africa, then in France, and then the US, and I'm back here. And like I said, there is no coincidence, right? It's a journey, and each one of us has a journey, and we have to look at things in a holistic way. Okay, I'm going to be an engineer, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a teacher, but at the end of the day, what type of human being am I? How am I connecting to people around me? How am I making an impact? Am I conscious about what's happening inside of me and the way I reflect things to other people? So it's that holistic way of looking at things, right? And the way we share our knowledge, the way we support each other. And we're talking about this South-South connection and collaboration, right? And it all starts here. If I'm open-minded, I'd be willing to support others. I'd be willing to collaborate on different projects. I'd be willing to share. So again, we can keep going around, and then we come back to how we talk to our brain, how we prepare our mindset to be ready for easy things, for difficult things, right? And we ought to keep the overall image in front of our eyes.
Thank you so much, Lubna, for reminding us that the most important approach is probably the holistic one, where it's not just about the work that I have, but it's the mission that I think that I accomplish in that work, the purpose, the whole way that I approach the society, the other person sitting next to me, and that it all comes down to how I approach myself. And that's actually a very important moment in discussion for me. As you say, I don't believe there is any random occurrences. So I believe that we were all chosen to be here and have this conversation. And it's such a pleasure for me to keep reaching out to your experiences. And I'm going to turn to you, Judith. Of course, you have this vision where you also link nature, diversity, science as a driver of transformation. So how does it affect actually concretely the communities? And how do we bring that chemistry to our communities?
Shukran. Gracias. Thank you. Those are three different ways of saying shukran. Merci. Fabuloso. Miriam, I have to say I'm so grateful to the water. So in July, we were in the water speaking about the world. And really, if you think about it, that is the biggest source of, besides light actually, light is first, and then after light is water. The planet is, we are composed of water internally and externally. That is the largest. 53 years on this planet. Next week I'll be 54. Gracias. Shukran. Merci. Thank you. And I'm reflecting as I'm here with you about my journey. My journey began in a country where I say we are the country of corn. So Mexico is offering the corn to the world. We also offer these incredible butterflies. They're called the monarch butterflies. They travel between they travel between Mexico and Canada and the United States, and that's been part of my journey. And also, we are, in particular, Jalisco, the state that I am from. You've heard perhaps the mariachi music. If you haven't, hopefully I can share some of that music with you. So I am from the municipality where the mariachi was created, which is also a fusion of cultures. And so when I begin to think about what I would want to share with all of you today, I would say gratitude, diversity, and curiosity. I have a 21-year-old son who's, thanks to him, I actually came to Morocco and Europe this summer. He was doing chemistry summer internship in Toulouse, France. And when I visited him, he said, Mama, always, if you're talking to children or if you're talking to youth, or even not so young people, please share curiosity. Curiosity is what allows us to ask questions in the world. And when we ask questions, we open our mind to learning. So please be curious so that you can have questions. You can have many questions throughout the day. The first questions we ask is about ourselves. Who am I? Why was I born in Morocco, in Mexico? Why was I born on this planet? What is my purpose? What shall I do? And our purpose changes over time. When I was born in Mexico at the age of 6, my parents took me to California. I come from a very small village of 350 people. It's not an urban place, and yet I've lived in many urban places. So I have the great fortune of being able to compare. What is it to be in a village of 350 people? What is it to live in Washington, D.C.? What is it to live in smaller towns, 150 people, Santa Maria, California? And what is it to live in different countries? I've lived in Mexico and the United States. And I am opening my heart and my mind in ways that I never imagined to both Africa. Actually, there is a little seed that happened very young. And I was just sharing with Benjamin earlier today. When I was a child,
in my family, I am the darkest skin. And my sister used to say, and these are the challenges that we as human beings, even in our own families. You're from Africa. And I said, great, I want to go to Africa. When I was a child, I wanted to come to Africa. And you look at me and you're like, you're not very dark. But compared to other people, there's always comparison. But I'll talk about diversity a little bit later. But I have to say that as a young person, imagining that I would come to Africa, I had no idea what the path would be. And now, after seeing your slide, Miriam, I want to see all of Africa. Yes, not just Morocco, because it is much more diverse than just one country. And so, the journey, again, took me from imagining this, and my son did the same thing at 9 years old. He imagined, he did a book report on Switzerland. And he said, Mama, Papa, when I grow up, I'm going to live in Switzerland. And we said, oh, we were living in Mexico at the time. We said, wow. And why do you want to live in Switzerland? Ah, it's very green, and Mama, you always talk about peace. It's the only country in World War I and II that stayed neutral. Oh, okay. This summer, we had the opportunity to travel to Switzerland because he was in Toulouse, and I drove a car all the way from France, all the way to Switzerland, to Zurich, and now he wants to go to school in Switzerland. Will he be able to? We don't know. But he's imagining. That's the curiosity. You have to imagine yourself. I hope someday you'll imagine being in Mexico. Begin to imagine. The great scientist Einstein said, information is powerful, but imagination, that is the most powerful thing we as human beings have. For us to imagine ourselves, who we might be, not just in 10 years, but who we might be tomorrow. We can create ourselves, we can co-create ourselves with others. Who I am today is different because I have met Miriam. And who you will meet today, whether it's here or whether it is outside of this university or maybe online, will co-create who you will become in the future. So open yourself up. Open yourself up to curiosity, to gratitude, and to diversity. Because it is diversity, both in the natural world and in the human world, that makes us stronger. That is something that I've learned in Mexico and that I've learned in the United States. So I am not currently the executive director of Life Lab. I'm actually now in transition, caring for my parents. My parents are 81 and 82, and I decided I have done very important steps in my life to take breaks. When you need to begin to reimagine, take a break. Sometimes it's 15 minutes, sometimes it's just a breath. That could be a moment to give yourself space to imagine something different. So I went from Mexico to the United States to study mathematics, to then lead an organization that was very small. It was a nonprofit organization that I devoted I gave all my love to that organization. And I imagined myself, wow, what could I do if I'm not going to have children? I have children now. But at that time, for 7 years, I didn't have children. I gave myself to that organization. And that organization went from 250 people to now 6,000 people at a conference. And next week, that same conference that I had the opportunity to lead for 12 years, my son will be presenting his research in chemistry. And I'll be joining this caravan only for 1 week so that I can join my son in Columbus, Ohio. Because life also is in spirals. We think it's linear, but it's not. What happens is that we suddenly go, oh, I remember I met someone. Wow, I see her again. Wow, I learned so much more. But also we see our own selves. We say, I've been at this place, and I come back, but I'm a new person. What might I offer? So next week I'm going to this conference that I haven't been in 14 years to go, what could I learn and what could I offer? Because it is in that co-creation, that give and take, that we co-create this existence, both in the villages and in the cities. And I'll just say one thing about urban settings. If you can, I recommend you take seeds and plant them. Make your own garden. Make small gardens and make big gardens. What urban settings most need is life, and that we can see life. If I have to say, Miriam has a beautiful garden. It's a balcony, but it's a garden. You can create a garden anywhere you are at. But make sure you plant the seeds. We plant the seeds in our mind, we plant our seeds in our heart, but we physically have to feel the earth. That's what I would really want urban settings to do, to imagine what it might be to create gardens in our homes and in the outside spaces, so that we do not forget what this planet and what connects us all is not just water, but land. And we have to feel the land. We have to touch the land. Last week I was in Mexico, accompanying my parents because they get dental care in Mexico that's cheaper than the United States. And so we were there for 3 weeks caring for them. And one of the best things that I did was actually go and planted some seeds. They're called cempasúchil. Cempasúchil are marigolds, and marigolds are these yellow, beautiful flowers that in Mexico are used specifically for the Day of the Dead. In Mexico, we have a tradition on November 1st and 2nd, we honor those who have come before us. And we say they're still here. They're in our genes, but they're also here somehow spiritually. And I want to say we should always honor and give gratitude to everyone and all of our generations and all of the different cultures that make us. I am no longer just from Mexico, I'm no longer just from the US. I am a citizen of the world, and so are you. We are all citizens of this planet. We have a shared home, and it is our responsibility, our co-responsibility, to care for our home. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Judith, for just.
I want to say one word.
Yes, of course.
Thank you, Gaeta. Just to say thank you for coming all over South California, all over from Mexico, to be with us here today. Thank you very much. Thank you, Judith. And I just also want to mention something, as Lubna said, Dr. Lubna mentioned. Il n'y a pas de coïncidence, il n'y a pas d'hasard. There is no coincidence in life. We're all connected. As a physicist, as a chemist, I always believe in electrons, protons, and neutrons. And I always believed and feel myself like an electron. And I always was looking for freedom, for being free as an electron, to connect with others, to be the connector. Some of my mentors called me the organic connector, because I always, in a group, try to connect the people. Sometimes they don't know the qualities or the challenges between themselves, but they can complement themselves, they can work together, we can work together. So thanks to the electrons I've learned about, and I'm doing my best to make them as free as possible to connect with other electrons from all over the world. So this is how we are here today. And I wanted also to clarify, I don't talk to everyone at the hammam by the swimming pool. It was actually the first time I'm talking to someone by the pool in the spa for those who's been there. At the Hassan Second, we have an amazing swimming pool, also for men. I encourage you to go there with the water sea. And the moment.
Don't be afraid about the alarm.
Yeah.
Because we have construction in the.
Okay. Thank you very much.
So maybe something.
Thank you. Thank you, Salia, for this.
We are safe.
So, what I want to say is I want to say something. We are not aware sometimes of what surrounded us, what we could have from the small things you just mentioned. And in
yourself as seed planters. Which seed do you want to plant in their spirit? If I start with you, Professor, and I would like for every one of you to say, if today you wish to plant one seed in our spirits, which would it be?
The seed I feel I have discovered and I would love to see planted is a seed of wonder. Truly. I feel, look at many countries, many people, many age groups, many people of many achievements, and yet there's not enough sense of wonder and awe. I feel in myself that every moment is full of wonder. Let me share with you that I was 21 years old when I went to Canada. And before I went there, I had never seen a white person. And I had never seen a black person from Africa. And I had never met a person who was Jewish. And I had never met a person who looked Chinese. So it was incredible for me. Yet I was pretty good. I was doing my PhD in nuclear physics. I was good in one area, but stupid in everything else. I didn't know anything. And suddenly I said, my God, I need to learn about music, about architecture, about other people. And I remember let me share with you a sense of wonder. Just a week later, I had arrived there on the 3rd of September, and just 8 days later, on September 11th, which came to it was September 11th, and I was sitting in my room, in a dental room at the university. And it was Sunday, beautiful day. September is a lovely time in Canada. And suddenly I hear some music from the next door. And I felt moved by it, touched by it. Oh, that's very beautiful. And then it went on for another 10 minutes. Suddenly I see tears coming into my eyes. I said, yes, I've never heard anything so beautiful. And I was a student of physics. I knew how moon and earth, this attraction goes on tides, but I had no idea how certain sounds can bring tears in your eyes and move your heart. And it went on for another 20, 30 minutes, and I was crying with joy. And I said, this is amazing. So when this music was over, I knocked at the door next door. And the guy seemed like he looked like a Chinese guy. I'd never seen a Chinese person before. And I said, what were you playing? He said, don't you know? I said, I've never heard such music before in my life. He said, this is Beethoven. And this is the 9th Symphony. I said, who's Beethoven? And what is a symphony? What is 9th Symphony? Now, some of you will know Beethoven is considered one of the greatest musicians of the West. I didn't know anything about the Western music. But it opened a whole new world for music. What music can do to your heart, to your mind. And it doesn't, I didn't know anything about Western music. I knew about Indian music, but nothing about Western music. So it was a discovery. Now if I may say, I'm pretty informed about it. I've learned a lot about it. So curiosity, wonder is very important. Truly. You don't have to say I am curious only in my field of study in chemistry, but when I went back to India, after 50 years. And I noticed something, people don't talk, rich people don't talk to the other people. They sort of class consciousness. And this bothered me. What kind of people are these? So I made a promise to myself, every day I'm going to talk to a person who I've never talked to before. Every day. And I've been doing this for the last 3 years. Every day somebody new I had never talked to. For 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, it has opened my eyes. And if you come to see my film today, it is about water and light. And it is about two people who people don't talk to. And one person in my film is he makes tea. Nobody ever talks to him. He just makes tea, we drink tea. But I discovered something beautiful about him. That about his face. And my film is about the invisible river of knowledge. What is knowledge? What is it? And we have a goddess in India called Saraswati, which is goddess of knowledge. But it's a river, supposed to be a river, but you don't see it with these eyes. You see it with a different set of eyes. And suddenly this tea man who sold me tea, I saw something. I saw some beauty in it. And people said, why did you spend 3 minutes on the film talking about this man? I said, because I saw something new. And then there's another woman in the film, who, very poor woman, and she meets two of my companions. One was from Brazil, the other was from Israel. And suddenly she saw incredible connection. So you see in my film some of it. So curiosity, wonder, awe, this transforms your life. Truly. And every moment in life is full of that. So that's
Curiosity. Well, I'll certainly can relate, and we'll come back to that, inviting you to share some of that curiosity. And it's funny because, again, I introduced myself as the person who wanted to be the most curious in the room. So it's just marvelous. What would you say, Lubna?
Okay, fantastic. So, yes, curiosity. Actually, this reminds me that, okay, Mariam is a certified coach, I am as well. And when we work with our clients, we ask curious questions and we make them think and think and think and look for solutions. Okay? The seed I would plant is the seed of confidence. Confidence and believing in oneself. When I was young, living here in Morocco, when I was in high school, I was even at university, I used to be very, very, very shy. And I didn't look at things the same way I look at them now, and I wish I had mentors, I had people who guided me and showed me things in a different way. And I've seen the transformation in many of my students. I've had students from India, from China, from the US, and lately Moroccan students and African students, and I know that when I plant the seed of confidence in those kids, oh my God, they deliver, because I tell them, I see you, I know you're here, I know you're special, and by building confidence and trusting in yourself, you can achieve so many things. So for me, it's really, really powerful, okay? And I can tell that I inject confidence as well in the clients I work with, right? People who are in career transition and wondering what to do and feeling stuck, and once they start looking at things differently, they change their mindset, they keep a positive mindset, and that's where the change happens, and that's where the confidence starts building up, and that's where transformation happens. So that's my seed.
Oh, I love that seed. I love that seed because nothing can happen without confidence. And the other way, the other side of confidence, to me, is faith, is hope. Because the key word there is, I might not feel confident now, but I hope that I'm going to feel every day a better sense of confidence, of purpose, of change making. So really, to me, the other name of confidence is hope. And it's very important that we keep that connected. That's where you were all saying the message is very similar. Let's just look at things hoping the better outcome, for the better outcome. So Judith, what would you say?
So you already have two C's. Curiosity and confidence. And so I'm going to add a third seed. A third seed that's a seed. You know, seeds. So the C is compassion. Compassion. I think that it is fundamentally important that we as human beings really cultivate. Here's another seed. Cultivate the seed of compassion first, which is sometimes the hardest for ourselves. Because sometimes when we are confused, especially when we're young and we're trying to figure out the world, we sometimes are being harsh on ourselves. I should know how to do this. I should do this. I should do that. But to be patient and to let ourselves go, it's okay to be confused. It's okay not to know everything. It's okay to doubt ourselves or to doubt the world. But to just be compassionate and kind. Compassionate and kind are very interconnected. And I think that the world and ourselves and our own minds really, there's a lot of space and there's a lot of opportunity to plant the seed of kindness and compassion. I think it would be a different world if we were kinder to ourselves and to each other, especially with our differences. Especially with our differences of thinking, skin color, religion, beliefs in general. If we are, compassion means that we can feel what the other person can feel. We don't have to agree. To be compassionate does not mean that we have to agree on the same thing. It doesn't have to be agree to ourselves, but to just begin to imagine what it feels like. And so that would be the seed.
Thank you very much. I would like to take just a few minutes to get a question or a feedback from the audience, from all of us. How did you feel about what we said? What is in your mind right now? It doesn't have to be a question. It can just be a feedback or a thought. But share something or a sit. Yeah, absolutely. Who wants to say anything about what we said? You can start. Whoever. You got it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Emmanuel, for the invitation for this amazing event. Thank you, Gaita, and all of you for your testimonies, and thank you very much. I can say also that something happens to life every day. There is no real coincidence. Like everything happened for a reason. And I was believing before that it was just a coincidence and you're meeting this woman or this man in your way. And I'm thinking more and more that this is really for a reason. And sometimes you have something in your mind, you want to do a project or you want to work on something, and you meet this guy, and you meet this woman, and this building your story and what you want to do and your project, and you don't even know that you're gonna meet these people. And this is always for a reason. And maybe like you were saying that every day you want to meet someone, and then for 3 years now you're doing that, and this is like amazing, because I'm really thinking the same of you. And I think that meeting people from different horizons, different words, different culture, this is such amazing, for very rich and very important. How you can live your life without curiosity, without going to the others, without trying to learn from them. This is life. For me, this is life. So when you're like staying home and not like every day, not trying to travel or meet other people, even if you don't have money or something, but just like going to the street and staying in a coffee place, even in a coffee place, even in the hammam, and now you're here and you're, so maybe this is like thinking about people you meet. It's for a reason, always, nothing. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Selma. She forgot to present herself. She's running one of the biggest and amazing galleries, caravan, a movement of art. And she's managing one of the famous gallery arts in Morocco with La Fondation Almada, which is very, very famous, and she's running amazing gatherings and empowering artists. Really, she's doing an amazing job, and thank you for coming and joining us here today. She's also planning to organize one of the projects through Africa, and I encourage for those who are in art to connect with her. Yeah, and
I've known Selma for a long time because, she is one of those people indeed that does a great job in empowering artists. And she really, what I think is beautiful about the way she approaches that area is that she is free. She freed herself from the traditional way to do it. She made sure that art also travels to meet the people where they are, which is something that we actually deeply believe in. That's the way we started as well. And so she's a great light to that industry, and she represents an innovative way of working with artists, working with the public, and that's something that is very important. You don't have to follow we are talking to students here, so you don't have to follow the path that somebody else started. You can inspire yourself from that path, but you can always, the highest version of yourself that you'll be able to achieve is the authentic one. So just do you. And thank you, Salma, for that feedback. Anyone else? What do you think? Do you know that they came because they also wanted to hear from you?
I appreciate all the things and the creative ideas that you have come up with. My point is that we have to adapt with difficult situations where we face people from different backgrounds, because sometimes you can do something and the other person he can consider it as as an insult or something like that. So we have to learn about other cultures to avoid like these honest mistakes.
Actually, in the US, one of the programs I used to teach at, we have a course called Cultural Diversity. And for 3 hours, I'm talking about the differences in cultures. And one of the things I used to observe, when I put the students to work on team projects, we have Chinese kids, we have Americans, and we have Indians. That's the pool usually in the US, right? And some students used to complain about the Chinese because they wouldn't take any initiative, they wouldn't share their thoughts. And once we did the class on cultural diversity, they were more comprehensive, and they understood why their behavior was like that. So you're totally right. It's important. It's important to open up our minds to other cultures. And actually, when you look at teams, when you have heterogeneous teams, they work really well in the long run because everyone brings different skills, and you put everything together, and you make amazing things, amazing innovations. Yeah. So thank you for your point.
Thank you, Luna, for this comment. I just want to add maybe or share with you one seed that I was thinking of and also taking notes about it. It's the seed of clarity. The seed of clarity, and from this we will jump on. We have Professor Tekleab Emmanuel connected with us all the way from the United States. But a few days ago, I didn't say it at the beginning. I just came back from LA, from an amazing experience of personal empowerment within Tony Robbins. I don't know who knows Tony Robbins. Raise your hands. Okay. So most of you know about Tony Robbins, who is one of the famous
coach and motivator coach that help thousands, but maybe 1 billion people after 40 years, help them and accompany them to unleash the power within themselves. And I just came back a few days ago. I went there to bring or to look for some energy, and I came back with clarity. Clarity of vision. And for me, from this stage, I wanted to like highlight it because it's very, very important, because we're talking here about Africa's big dreams. And to achieve those African big dreams or our own big dreams, we know we need to have some clarity in our vision, in our way, and to visualize it. Of course, I support and I love your suggestions of being curious, of being compassionate, of being open, and also of being confident. But all of those without clarity in your vision, you will be lost. You will be, of course, connected with everyone, good communicator maybe, but without any goal in your life, any objective, clear objective. So thank you for bringing this question up, Gaita, and I would love to take this opportunity to connect Zakaria, to connect with us with Professor Tekleab. He is listening. He confirms that he is listening. And I will give the floor to no. Do you hear us, Professor?
Yes, I can hear you.
Could you put a little bit higher the volume, please? We hear you, but if the volume is really down, give us 1 second. We will fix it. Do you see us through the camera? Yes. Okay. What am I wearing?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, but we're fixing the voice, the volume. So Professor Tekleab, he's an associate professor also working, and I met him last year here at SK Business School. He was attending one of the famous conferences about sustainability, and he was one of the persons who supported me, encouraged me to launch Leaders for Africa podcast. And I cannot, describe you the power he gave me just around in a corner on that terrace. I remember it was there, to around a lunch table. He didn't know me. We were having dessert with tea and Moroccan cupcakes. And when I talked about my project, definitely he supported the idea. He didn't hesitate to open his network and to support also this project, which is amazing and unbelievable, coming from those also African leaders from all over the world. We are still connected, and I think we still believe in those African big dreams. I don't know if it's okay now. Zakaria, we're connected. 2 seconds. Professor Tekleab, I will leave you with Gaita, our moderator. She will take care of you. Okay?
Professor, can you hear me? Hello? Okay. We still have an issue with the sound. Can we fix it? Do you have any option to fix it? Right. So before he takes, he tells us actually about his contribution to this panel. This is a quick introduction for those who don't know Professor. He is Emmanuel Tecleo. He is from Wayne State University, and he is a leading scholar in management and organizational behaviors, and he studies trust, justice, and intercultural leadership. So his researches sheds light on how institutions can build cultures of collaboration. That's an interesting perspective, especially in terms of institutions and in this particular time where cultures tend to fight and resent from one another more than they tend to collaborate. And so we want to hear from him. I don't know if it's going to be, if the sound is fixed, but what I would like for him to give us as an insight is how do we collectively, because I love the fact that we narrowed the topic down to the essential element of our society, which is the individual. But how, collectively, how do we use those cultures? How do we use I don't know, Professor, if you've been listening to me. I think that's better. Hi, Professor. We can see you. Can we now? Yes, can you say something so we can see if we hear you?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Professor, for joining us and waiting, because you know that you've been here with us since the beginning. So, quick introduction, Professor. What can you say to join this topic on the intercultural level and that leadership collaboration?
Thank you very much first for the opportunity to join you online. I wish I was there, frankly. I love Morocco. I've been to Morocco many times and to Casablanca. I think I've been there 3 times. I enjoy the time I spent. And Miriam, you remembered everything, the details when we met first and when we had coffee, tea together, and that was really impressive. Today I'm joining you from the US, from Michigan. I'm a professor of management and I do research related to, as already introduced, on leadership and fairness, and I try to see the role leaders play in shaping society, in shaping the organization, and shaping the environment overall. I see leadership as the key institution, the key factor for any success that we do. Everyone looks up to the leaders. Everyone looks up to the leaders to make an impact in the lives of many individuals. And leaders are meant to be role models. Leaders are meant to be influencers. Leaders are meant to be developers. Leaders are meant to be teachers. And leaders are supposed to be empathetic to help everyone in their organization and with their and all their subordinates. And I see leadership also playing significant role in creating the culture that is inclusive, the culture that brings everybody together, the culture that facilitates free discussions, the culture that brings everybody to share their opinions. And that is what I call leadership. In many of African countries and in many also potentially in Asian countries, we see leaders to only say their opinions and share what what their subordinates should be doing. But in my view, leadership is actually working together with the subordinates, working together with other people to make an impact in the lives of many people. And from the cultural perspective, I believe that it is the leaders who can connect two different cultures, African culture and Asian culture. I think it is instrumental for all these leaders, wherever they are, in Africa or in Asia, to seek out how they can develop trust between them. Trust is extremely important in our day-to-day life. You know, for me to communicate with Miriam, I first need to trust her. I need to have that trust developed. I need to kind of believe that whatever we discuss is meaningful and impactful. And that level of trust is extremely important for every day-to-day life. With subordinates, with colleagues, even with our superiors, having and developing that trust is important. In my research, if we trust each other, we are all engaged in our day-to-day activities. We are highly engaged in the organization. We are highly engaged in the lives of other people. We are highly engaged in order to achieve the objectives of the organization. And trust helps us to connect the two different cultures, African and Asians. If we think about, we are the same in many cases. We learn from each other, and we need to develop that feeling that we can rely on each other for the betterment of both Africa and Asia. I am a strong believer. I'm a strong believer that the connections, interaction, the collaboration among leaders, African and Asian leaders, is going to be a means for the successful and transformative world. We have the power. We can make an impact. We can influence what other countries can do if and only if we can believe in each other. As long as we can believe that we can help each other, as long as we trust each other. And I see here a combination of participants from different parts of the world. And that is instrumental. I can see the connections, the trust between Professor and Miriam, and that is what brought all this conference into life. And we can see such kind of collaboration emerge if and only if we can trust each other and open ourselves for opportunities, open ourselves, even for failure. We fail many times, but we learn something from the failure, and we improve on that. And I believe that if we all are engaged in this transformative thinking, that we need to develop that trust for us all to succeed. I believe that is going to be the means for our success. I believe that's the means for us to be impact.
We lost you. Professor? One second.
Yes. This is our mic.
Can you say something, Professor?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. I don't know where I start. So I'm not sure where.
We were talking about trust.
Yeah, I think the whole idea is, I think it's extremely important for the leaders to develop that kind of trust between themselves and others. between themselves and subordinates and between themselves and their superiors as well. So I was saying toward the end of my talk, we can not be followers for the rest of our lives. We need to be the leaders. We can be the leaders. We should be the leaders if and only if we can trust each other.
Thank you, Professor, for adding this word. I think you've been following from before. We were saying that we were expecting one seed to be planted in our mind from every one of the panelists. So I guess you already answered that, and that's a very important thing to have: trust in each other, trust to be able to build. And I want to ask, what, based on what we shared before, how do you project that trust in African society, in African young minds? How do you see that element of trust grow better?
That's a very interesting question. We all know that trust is based on risk. I am going to trust somebody else if I'm willing to take that risk. I can trust somebody and I rely on that person if I am willing to take that risk to believe that that person is going to be there. And for me, if we are going to be transforming what we think and how we think, we as leaders, African and Asian leaders, gotta be willing to take that risk. And I'm going to tell you this, Miriam mentioned about how we started talking about everything that we are doing now, right? We took risks. I didn't know her, she didn't know me. But we took a kind of our own initiative, our own risk to kind of be vulnerable to the other person so that we can have understanding of what she does and what I do. And I think that starting point, that willingness to take that risk is extremely important in my view. And as such, I think African leaders, they have to take that risk. And without risk, we cannot really trust the other person. But of course, it's calculated risk. We don't simply jump into anything with the blind idea that it's going to be successful or it's going to be useful. We do some calculations. We do some thinking before we take an action. And that to me is what leaders are supposed to be doing, to measure things and take that initial risk so that they can actually get the buy-in from others and the willingness for the other party to interact in that discussion. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Completely, Professor. Thank you. We understand that the ability to take risks is probably the one that allows us to overcome the fear of failing, the fear of losing, the fear to get the better result. And especially, I think I speak on the behalf of all African young people in this room, but on the behalf really of humanity, that I'm very honored to have been able to share these inspirational dreams are valid, that Africa's visions are valid, that Africa's vision is powerful, that we have the right, but more, we have the duty to build our own models of progress. The third seed, this seed is so important to me, the core of humanity, compassion or kindness. The seed that teaches us that every innovation must heal include, and uplift. Because what we create loses every meaning if it doesn't serve the people. The fourth seed is clarity, the seed of purpose that brings light to our vision, helps us see beyond the noise and egos, reminds us why we began this journey in the first place. And last, certainly not least, the seed that connects us to one another, the seed of trust and connection. Trust in ourselves, trust in others, trust in the process of co-creating, co-leading a future where Africa doesn't just follow, but leads with integrity. Those 5 seeds: curiosity, confidence, compassion, clarity, trust, are the foundations of the conscious leadership that I will take with me out of this panel. Thank you very much for your presence, for your thoughts, the ones that you shared, the ones that you kept. And thank you for staying with us and sharing more of this. I want to especially thank and appreciate the incredible vision that Miriam had the guts to materialize, because I know it was not easy. And I know that very turning point when you rather play it safe and wait a little bit, or you just want to go with the flow and see the outcome. And look at this marvelous outcome. Congratulations, congratulations to Co-Leaders for Africa. And I know that this is a beautiful caravan to come. Thank you, Professor. Thank you, distinguished guests. And let's have a little break, a little coffee, and continue the discussion.
Thank you very much, Gaeta. Thank you, Professor Emmanuel. We have maybe after the break, coffee break, Professor Rashid Yazami. If you want to meet him, he will be joining us live. And just after that, we will invite you to a special workshop, maybe 20 minutes of workshop with Professor Sevdev Kumar, our honorable guest coming from India. He will talk to you about something related to his vision, about how does he see urban innovation and the biggest big dreams in Africa. Thank you very much, and welcome to the
Thank everybody.
Have or to give us a big applause for Manon and welcoming her. Thank you. So, please, Zakaria, could you present us our amazing guest, Professor Judy, or is sorry, is our MC just right here?
Actually, Judith, this is Dr. Judith Muturi. She is a professor at University of Nottingham, and she's a researcher in governance and sustainability. She focuses on corporate responsibility and economic justice in Africa. Her work aims to design innovation models that fosters inclusion, equity, and long-term sustainability. So she's gonna give us, she was supposed to be with us, but she couldn't. So she's going to give us a little word that summarizes what she does and how she can add value to this platform. Thank you.
Sustainability presents us with numerous opportunities for innovation and as well as the opportunity to
I said she insisted to be with us and contribute to this caravan because she believes that big dreams are still in Africa and we have to contribute, each one of us, at our levels, with, even if it's not perfect, even if we're not so many people today, but day by day, step by step, one leader at a time, one moment at a time, we will become a great and a big community who make amazing changes and faces big challenges to make the future better. Are we done? Yes. Thank you.
So thank you so much for the invitation to join me today. Unfortunately, I could not be there in person, and I really hope that you're having a great time and great deliberations. So to address the question, sustainability presents us with numerous opportunities for innovation and transformation, as well as the opportunity to pursue a different kind of leadership, a leadership that is intentional, that pursues green and ethical and responsible business agenda. So I see sustainability as that bridge that connects Africa's big dreams and Asia's rise. To be more specific, Africa is home to numerous resources. We have natural capital, human capital, social, and cultural capital, to name but a few. And I'll zero in on two. We have vast, we are richly endowed of minerals and metals like cobalt in DRC Congo, rare earth elements needed for green technology. We also have oil and gas. We are still, in the fossil fuel business, like we see in Nigeria and Angola. We have a vast and cultivated arable land that could be harnessed, for smart agriculture, for setting up agro-processing industries. We also have abundant renewable resources, lots of sunshine all year round. We have geothermal and hydro, resources that we can tap into to drive a more green and sustainable future. So imagine if we were to utilize all these natural resources, we could be delivering and developing, green energy industries like solar panels assembly. We could be processing our minerals and adding value to them before exports. We could be utilizing our arable land, growing more forests for carbon sinks like we see in Congo Basin, and remembering that 60% of African population is pretty young, and lots of us are 30 years old and below. And these people are dynamic, they are creative, they think outside the box, they are educated, they are skilled for the fourth industrial revolution. And when given a chance, these young people can do great exploits in their continent, especially, ICT, fintech, working around climate finance, the creative economy, and in agribusiness now we see young people actually, going into that space and, really embracing smart agriculture. So innovation is happening in Africa. It may be not scale, but it's happening. We have tech leadership, for example, Kenya's island, fintech, mobile money innovation like M-Pesa, cultural industries, and the creative economy is growing. We've always been led by the Nigerians Hollywood, so you can imagine supporting all the companies downstream, in this industry, working with them and building those SMEs and growing them in a sustainable way. So having said that, with all that social and human and natural capital, this is just an example. We can leverage on Africa's expertise, innovations, achievements, particularly in manufacturing, in green transition, in technological leadership, to really work together to collaborate and build strong partnerships that can turn Africa's aspirations into reality. So, for example, advancing sustainable growth and industrialization, collaborating with Africa, with Asia partners, to drive the smart cities agenda. We've seen the successes in some of the Asian countries. Also seeking to develop more sustainable value chain and really creating shared value, because lots of natural resources are exported from Africa. And so how do we ensure that, the bananas we grow, the mangoes we grow, are grown in a way that empowers our local communities, that, is not land labor? How do we ensure that, we are not just taking the environmental dimension, but also social and governance development parameters in big projects like the International Solar Alliance that is, tapping into the natural resource in Africa. So young people are passionate about positive societal impact, and lots of them are value driven. They are asking the important questions, they are seeking, answers, and they require, opportunity and partnerships between Asia and African, partners
thank you so much for this nice words. I'm giving back the floor to Keita. Miriam first.
Just to say that we have a surprise that Professor Rashid Yazani is joining us from Singapore right now. He left everything just to say a word. I told him there is so many youth looking forward to meeting you, professionals from all over the world. Maybe there is something that he can share with us. Are you interested? Yes? Raise your hands. Who is interested? Okay, good. Thank you. So connect him to Teams, please, so he can see us. And I will answer the question again, and please raise your hands so he can see you, because he left everything to join us. So, I think we're patient enough. We're here because we're curious. And we are dreamers and believers. And we have also the hunger to make Africa's better, Africa's future better, the world better, right? Here we are. Welcome, Professor Rashid Yazami. Can you see us? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can see you. Yes,
مرحبا
I hear
بك.
you.
مرحبا بك
Hello.
هنا. Happy Diwali.
Thank you very much.
Happy
Thank
Diwali.
you so much.
Eid Mubarak.
Today is a holiday. Yes. Eid Mubarak. It's the festival des Lumières.
C'est
The
ça.
festival of lights.
Exactly. So, welcome, dear professor, and thank you very much for supporting us. Could you see me? I'm here, standing up. We're all sitting in front of you. Can you see the video?
Yeah,
Hello.
I can see the video.
So I'm really honored and happy. I will stand because it's very important. So for those who doesn't know or never heard about Professor Rashid Yazami, he is one of the famous innovators in green tech, in energy tech in the world. He is the one who invented lithium-ion batteries that we all use in our iPhones, in our laptops. And he's Moroccan, he's African, and he's young. Maybe the youngest person on this floor. In his mind, he's one of the first persons who believed in the project of Corridors for Africa and also accepted the invitation to become a part of the Wisdom and Leadership Caravan to support us in building those bridges between Africa and Asia. And why? Because he's already in Asia. He started maybe 30 years ago the bridges, building those bridges that we're talking about in the tech field, and he's doing an amazing job. So thank you again, Professor, and a big applause to him. So who is interested into listening what he's going to say? Raise your hands.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you see the hands raised for those who are interested?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. So, so the floor is yours, Professor.
Okay.
Give us your
Alright,
vision,
so again,
your point of view, your orientation to connect innovation with those African big dreams and make them happen.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you very much for having me. Now it's a little bit late in Singapore. It's past 8:30 p.m. And although we had like a holiday today because of the Diwali, this is the Indian Festival of Lights. I went to my office and I had some work to do. And unfortunately, there was no transportation as usual. So I took public transportation and I come back a little bit late. So that's just to tell you why I couldn't be there earlier. Okay, so I think this initiative is very good because what I can say is that without Africa, there will be no lithium-ion batteries at all. Not only because of me as a scientist, as an African, as you mentioned, but because of all the ingredients that we use to make a lithium-ion battery, and they are all in Africa, mostly in Africa. And I'm afraid that many of the Africans do not know that the key components of lithium-ion battery, starting from cobalt, phosphate, iron, copper, aluminum, manganese, nickel, all these elements, and graphite, of course, are present in different countries in Africa. And actually, more than 10 years ago, I advocated for, with like a slogan saying, battery mining in Africa should remain in Africa. for the wealth of African people. Unfortunately, the situation is a little bit different because the major battery manufacturers, especially China, they understood the potential of Africa, and they invested very heavily in different countries in Africa because they are looking for the natural resources. As I said, like graphite. Without graphite, in Madagascar and in other countries, there is no lithium-ion battery. Without the cobalt from the Democratic Republic of Congo, there will be no lithium-ion battery. Without the phosphate from Morocco, there will be no lithium-ion battery. So I can give you the list of countries because when I was in my office, I had a map of the African map with all the countries, and each country has the at least one or two of the three of the components. So now innovation in lithium-ion battery, I think, starts from taking into account this huge potential. I mean, this is a national treasure in Africa, and if my dream one day is to have like an African summit on lithium-ion battery and in general about the energy transition, and having most of the African countries being represented. This event should be sponsored by the local government or maybe by international organization like the United Nations or something like that, so we can have the decision maker making people in Africa come in and just see how they can work together cooperatively, so as we can have a lithium-ion battery under the stamp of Africa, really African-made lithium-ion battery. And it's also, of course, we did some import some technologies that are already existing. And for instance, in Morocco, there are at least 4 or 5 major Chinese companies who are already present in Morocco, and they will be producing what we call the active materials for the cathode, okay, and also graphite, and also producing lithium-ion batteries in Kenitra. So they are already there, but I think the problem is how complementarily, I mean, somehow cooperatively, African countries can come with a kind of African plan to develop this business, which will create millions, if not tens of millions, of jobs in Africa, and also provide the knowledge to young people in Africa, engineers, technicians, and also maybe company managers and so on. The culture about batteries and the use of the African resources in Africa to successfully go to this energy transition and get the electrical power in every house in Africa. this is a dream for me, you know. I know many countries, they have only 20% to 30% of people having access to electricity, including the Democratic Republic of Congo, not only many other African countries. In remote area, they don't have electrical energy. I mean, they don't have the electrical power. This can be done. This can be done within 10 years. We can cover more than 95% of the population in Africa using African resources. So this is my dream. I have been advocated for this for many years. And my message to you, for this initiative of the caravan, it's excellent, is to convey the message that yes, in Africa we can, and we can do something absolutely incredible. All right. So, well, of course, today is not only Diwali but also Morocco. The under 20 they won the World Cup, which was absolutely a big event. I congratulate the Moroccan team and the staff and all the people. I mean, Moroccan people become really wow, so happy. Suddenly, after this week, I mean, the last couple of weeks were a little bit more, I would say, socially animated and so on. But anyway, again, I mean, my message, I don't want to take too much time, is yes, it's possible to maybe put together resources. I have been many times invited to go to some African countries like Tanzania, Botswana, Malawi, many countries. They have wonderful resources, and because number one of the distance from Singapore, it's very long, and it's never happened really. But what I want is to have like an African summit on energy transition. We can discuss batteries. We can discuss also solar energy, wind energy, and other natural renewable energy sources for the benefits of African people, for benefits of the growth and having people having more access to transportation and also lighting in their houses and a lot of things that modern life allows us to do. So anyway, this is my message to you guys, and thank you again for the opportunity, and I hope I wish you big success for your event, and if there is anything in a follow-up, Miriam, please don't hesitate to give my email address to people who want to contact me personally, and I will be happy to address whatever question coming from you guys. Thank you very much again.
Thank you, Professor. Amazing. Thank you for this powerful message. You are always here to remind us the power within us, the power within Africans, through our resources, through our intelligence, through our wisdom, and through our leadership. And you are a great example of African leaders who make it happen, who did it, because you said that yes, you can, and you did it. Thank you very much for taking your time. And I just wanted to add a small mention that through this caravan, we're here to build bridges between Africa and the world, and we choose for this first edition to build bridges between Africa and Asia, and we're here honoring India as a guest country of honor. And we have here with us today Professor Sevdav Kumar, which is, thank you, who is a poet, not only a poet or a philosopher, he's a nuclear physicist initially, who became a philosopher, a writer, and artist, empowering young leaders all over the world. And I would love to put you in touch together to start building that bridge that we want to see between Africa that you represent and Asia that he represents very well. Thank you.
If I may add just one comment about India. probably your Honorable Bani, and he's the head of Reliance, a conglomerate, big company, and I have been honored to be a scientific advisor to Mr. Mukesh Ambani for 3 years about batteries, and I suggested actually to launch a gigafactory in not very far away from Mumbai, and the gigafactory is under construction, and I was very happy actually to be part of this project. So I am very familiar with India. I love Indian culture. I love Indian food here in Singapore. We have a lot of Indians, and today the Festival of Light honors India and Indian people. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor Yazami. I'm more than honored to listen to your intervention for a reason that is very important to me. You've mentioned my country of origin, the Democratic Republic of Congo, many times in your speech for obvious reasons that people don't necessarily know. We are a critical country when it comes to strategic minerals and resources, especially with electronics and energy and clean energy. Yet we are probably one of the countries with the less amount of families and population that can have access to energy and electricity. What you represent today is very strategical to me as a Congolese, and it resonates. For one reason is that you have been given the opportunity to show that Africa can build from its own engineering solution for the world using our own resources. Of course, I am a Congolese, so I know that there is more to it than just goodwill. But I think it always starts and by goodwill, and that's what makes the change. So I'm very happy that us as Africans, we get to see this living example that you embody of the changes that we can make. And if you want, as you say, travel more in the continent, and especially in my country, I want Congolese people to know about you, to know about what you've done, and to know that there is still an opportunity for us to do things differently for our continent and especially for our resources. Thank you so much for inspiring us today. And I would love, of course, to keep this connection going. Thank you, Marianne, for showing a living example of bridges between Africa and Asia. Thank you very much, Professor.
Thank you very much. Have a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. So,
all right, thank you. This has been very intense for me, and I love the fact that it's even better than what I actually hoped, because there is a lot of intentionality in all of these speeches. And so I would love to call Professor Kumar and invite you to come back to us. And I guess if you were anything like me before when he was speaking, you just wanted to hear more. So I'm happy to say that we are gonna have you back on stage to actually hear you more about this wisdom and everything that you can plant as seeds in our heads.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to share some more ideas and things like this. It's really quite wonderful to listen to Professor in Singapore, which is very close to where I live in India, and I will actually get some information about him from Miriam and invite him to the place where I live. Really remarkable things are happening. There are many young people here who are probably between the age of 18 and 25 or so. Remember, unless some disaster happens in the world, you are going to live to the end of the century. At the end of the century, year 2025, The end of the century is another 75 years. So unless some disaster happens, you're going to live to be 90, 95 years of age. And look back and see what has changed in the last 100 years. And what could change in the next 100 years. So live with hope. Live with dreams. Live with ideas. And something wonderful can happen. Truly. Remember 100 years ago, women had no right of vote. During the First World War in 1915, 16, 17, women were specially requested in England not to keep arguing for vote because they were fighting the war. Saying, wait till the war is over, then we'll talk about giving you a vote. Now, interestingly, looking at Asia, the very first person, woman, who became president or prime minister in the world was a woman from Asia, from a small country in Asia, Sri Lanka, in 1961. First woman prime minister or president in the world, a woman president. And then it was also in India. Mrs. Indira Gandhi was president, prime minister for 17, 18 years. Then you had a president in Bangladesh. Then you had a prime minister in Pakistan. Then also many other, then in Burma, in Myanmar. So many things. This is a remarkable change that happened. I truly feel last 50 years, the change that is very significant in the world is the role of women in the society. I shared with some people here, my mother, some 90 years ago, she was married at the age of 10. It was not uncommon. Sometimes 5-year-old children were being married in India. My father was 12 years old. And she became a mother at the age of 15. And then she gave birth to 7 children. I was the youngest. We all survived, did very well, very successful. And my mother, to the last day, could not sign her name. She never went to school. There were no schools for girls. And my father became a very prominent lawyer and so on in India. So today I see so many girls in India, in many countries, who are lawyers, who are judges, who are architects, who are doctors, who are politicians. And so this is a new opportunity that has come. And in my own university in Canada, I was a professor in Canada, when I went there some 40 years ago, there were only 6% students were women. Today there are 66%. More women than guys. And they're in every profession. Every profession. In law, in science, in forestry, in chemistry, in medicine, and so on. So big change. So live with hope. Okay, I urge you to think half the world is women. Women hold the other half of the sky, as Chinese used to say. So this is wonderful, wonderful transition. And I urge you, all young men here, to learn to respect, love women as equals. This is a great transition. It was not so for me when I was growing up. We thought we are superior men. Women are there to serve us. That has changed. I have 3 daughters, and they're big feminists, strong feminists. 2 of them live in Canada, and 1 of them live in Thailand. Strong feminists, and I admire them. I say, wonderful, what great change. So truly, the things we can learn from each other, from Asia, from the countries, say position of women in the society, equality, respect, equal opportunity for everyone, and this has to come, and we can learn it from from whatever source. Now earlier, my friend from Mexico mentioned one of the great things we can look at nature. Nature teaches us not only we learn about nature, what we communicate, but great metaphors, examples. One of the great butterfly is called monarch butterfly. It's in my film. If you come to see my film, I have a reference to it. Okay, monarch butterfly is an incredible butterfly. And why it is so incredible? Because I lived in Canada, very close to where I lived, near Windsor, near Detroit in USA. There is a place called Point Pelee. It's only a few acres, and come in month of May, the whole place is covered with butterflies. Every square inch is covered with butterflies. And we wondered, where the hell do they come from? Why do they come here? Okay, it took 20 years for 2 professors at the University of Toronto, husband and wife team, biologists, to find out that they came from Mexico, 6,000 kilometers away. And then they say, why the hell do they come here? Because come September, when it begins to get a little cold, they all disappear. They're only for 4 months there. And then the same way, where do they come? They discover a small hill in Mexico. And the ones was interesting, because I have studied it quite a bit since then. The ones that start from Mexico are not the ones that come to Canada. It's the 3rd or 4th generation that comes there. So it's a great wonder in nature. Why do they come here? What is special about this place? So really, if you look at the transition of people, a transition of cranes, another thing is starlings, one special bird near the border of Scotland and England. And starlings are about 3 inches long, just this long. But they've become a big cloud. There are 6-7 million of them dancing together. We don't know why. How do they learn about each other's dance? You know, they're big clouds, they're single, and yet they're together. So we have a lot of things to learn from nature like this, okay? Nature teaches us wonderful things. Nature's, if you look at metaphors for nature. So I find that one of the things that we create, we should look at our own house as a way of opening our windows to learn. Because I want all of you young people especially to explore the world. You're very lucky that you can afford it. You can do it. You know, there are aeroplanes are there. You can walk, you can take trains, you can do many things and learn about each other. And then say, what incredible. Sometimes you'll be shocked. Sometimes you'll be bewildered, confused. But nevertheless, this is part of the great journey to be doing all that. Okay, it was not so. 150 years ago, most people had not traveled more than 150 kilometers. They could not travel. There were no planes. Hardly anybody could afford it. There were few. They didn't know what I'm going to eat. Maybe they will eat me. And if I go somewhere, I don't know whether I'll become their food. So you wonder. Now the world has changed. Explore China, explore India, explore Egypt, explore other parts of Africa. Wonderful. And you will discover the humanity, the divinity, the spark that is in each one of us. Truly. And you say, we can do things together. Yeah, we can do things together. We don't have to fight with each other. We can love each other. We can have trade with each other. We can create music with each other. We can create life together. Really, create a better world, a peaceful world. Not a world full of dangers and distrust of each other. So I feel that these are very essential things. One thing that is very important for all young people who are studying engineering or whatever, to develop emotional intelligence. There's a whole new term called emotional intelligence. In 1980s, in the field of psychology, educational psychology, they came up with a term called multiple intelligences. Multiple intelligence, very interesting idea, very important idea. Because earlier if you went to school, they say you are smart only if you are good in mathematics, you can do writing. So 3 R's. You say, and if you're not good, you don't get high marks. Oh, I'm stupid. This kid is just stupid. Get low marks. I grew up with that feeling. I was pretty smart, so I got high marks and I got. But I saw a lot of my classmates were being treated very badly because they didn't get high marks. Now they were discovering that a person may not be very good in mathematics, but is very good in playing tennis or playing music. That's also intelligence. We have different kind of intelligence. So we need to learn as father, as mother, as parents, as teachers, as older brother, as older sister. What is intelligence? What is creativity? What is creativity in my child? How can I support him or her so that she discovers her real intelligence? So this idea of multiple intelligence, many kinds of intelligence. So a person does not have to be very good in mathematics and yet is absolutely brilliant in playing football and playing cricket or playing tennis. So then the other idea that came is called emotional intelligence. Very important because now more and more people are working together in a team. There's 6 people, 8 people. If you don't have it, you get angry quickly. You hurt other people by your gestures. You don't appreciate somebody else's achievement. You're jealous. You're petty. You don't forget things. You don't forgive things. That's not a very, then people say, I don't want to work with this person. Okay, I have seen this. When I went to Canada, as I shared with you, I was 21. was 21. I spoke English, I learned English, I spoke English quite well. But I had a very heavy Indian accent. You know, if you go to India, you'll see many times you can't understand Indian people speaking English because they have so many heavy accents. And then you have people French accent or Italian accent. So I went to Canada. I could speak English, but I had a very heavy accent. And then I made friendship with an English guy who was from Cambridge. And I thought, wow, he speaks English so well. Wow, the way he speaks. So I was very drawn to him. And I said, oh, this guy's really cool. Yeah, really cool. But then I discovered that he was making fun of my accent. And then everybody laughed, ha 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 ha. This guy laughed, making fun of this Indian accent. And in fact, if you know a little bit of history of British movies, it is very cool to make fun of Indian accent. Peter Sellers, an actor, used to make fun of Indian accent. Now, years gone by, and this guy, we remained friends. He became a very famous playwright, a theatre director, a professor of theatre in another university, York University in Toronto. I was a professor in University of Waterloo. And some 10 years ago, I got a call from him. He says, oh, I haven't seen you for a long time. Please come for dinner. Okay? So I go, he meets me at the door. He says, I owe you an apology. I said, what? What did you do? He said, I used to make fun of your accent. These days in Canada, if you make fun of somebody's clothes, somebody's food, somebody's, wears a burqa or wears, you will be fired from the job. It's not acceptable. You must learn to respect each other. And if you have somebody who's working with me, he or she has a heavy accent, French accent, I can't make fun of her. That's considered uncollegial. You're not a good colleague. You don't respect other people. So learning how to be a good colleague is very important in your job. Very important. You will maybe 6 people, 8 people working together. Say, how do I respect? How do I appreciate? Somebody is very good. How do I appreciate? So this is a very important feature, new development. Cultural diversity. A woman is working with you, you don't make fun of her. Yeah? Remember, one of the greatest women scientists was Mary Curie. I don't know how many of you know. She's one of the few people who won Nobel Prize 2 times. And she was a Polish woman. And she was working in a lab in Paris. This is 1901, 125 years ago. And she was not a very pretty woman, not a pretty girl. The French are very, they look down upon girls who are not pretty, their idea of pretty. And she didn't, she was a poor woman. She dressed up rather poorly. So they made fun of her. It so happened that she was brilliant. And she, and so on. So now, these days, people are becoming very conscious. Please be careful. You're working in a team of 6 people, 10 people, 20 people. Learn to appreciate. Learn to be somebody's birthday. Appreciate. Good. Let's celebrate. Somebody's done something, written a good paper, created a good painting. Congratulate. Don't be jealous. Don't be petty. So we have to learn how to not to be petty, not to be small-minded. Very important. Otherwise, you're not a good team member. You have to be a team player. Think of yourself as a football player. How to pass the ball to another person. These are very important qualities. Truly. Because these days you can be a great genius, but you don't work alone if you're creating a team. So, it's very important, all you scientists, or whatever field you choose to work in, that how to be a good team player. How to appreciate each other, not be lost in petty jealousy, and learn how to admire each other, to be concerned about each other. Recently, I was back in Canada after a year or so. I had an appointment with my bank manager, and I went there, and then his assistant came and said, Professor, sorry, you have to wait for about 20 minutes. So the manager came, I said, no problem. Manager said, Professor, sorry I kept you waiting. Today was birthday of one of our colleagues who were celebrating. And then he said, these days, you can forget the birthday of your wife, but you cannot forget the birthday of your colleague. I said, a good thing. I said, good thing, good development. That you are a good colleague. Really. that a good team player. This is becoming a very big challenge in all societies, that how to be a good team player, whether you're in politics, whether you're having a team of 10 people working in a corporation, or you have a own club. Very important, because I find some very good projects fall apart because people are not working together nicely. So please learn emotional intelligence, multiple intelligence, on how to be a good colleague, how not to laugh at each other's clothes, our foods, our things. And somebody has a child who's not, who will be autistic, and he may not be so smart, he will suffer from some things. How to be respectful of that. Now in Canada, again, let me share with you that very important things are being introduced. You know, they're saying now in high school, you do not graduate from your high school unless you spend at least 300 hours contributing to some voluntary work. Voluntary work, very good. What is voluntary work? So many young people are going to older people, in their women in their 70s, 80s, who are grandchildren are not there, nobody's there, helping them for 3 hours, 4 hours, taking it to go to see a film together. Let's go swimming together. Let's go, I'll do your shopping for you. I will do your little computer work, which I don't know how to do it. Wonderful. So they have to have at least 300 hours every year, term before they graduate. I think this is a great idea. Remember, great idea. That there are a lot of older people who don't know. I sometimes don't know how to use my computer. And so they say, wonderful, for kids this is nothing. And so to help like this, to make people feel, yes, you are old, you are disabled, you are something else, but I'll help you out. And, you know, I spent 3 hours with you, and at the end of it, living in Canada, a person, an older woman, an older man, gives you $20 as a tip. Kid, go play and have fun. So I make more money like this than I do by working on a job. So, very good. Now I'm introducing this in many countries, this idea that people retire at 60, 65. In India, they used to retire at 55. Now people are living longer, they're living to be 80 years old. So more of they're receiving their pension and yet, you know, spending a lot of money. I said, why don't you start an idea that everybody's retired? They spend 2 hours, 3 hours as a volunteer. You work somewhere to contribute your time. Okay? And you're earning your pension. You're helping out people. In a library, in a museum, in an orphanage, in old people's home. In so many people. Okay? So it creates a good sense that you're connected with them. Sense of service, sense of compassion. So not just as an abstract idea, but a concrete idea. How to express that compassion concretely. And there's so many people who feel left out in the world, whether they're older people or people suffering from certain diseases or whatever. So we need to introduce this idea. How do we not always doing something just to make money, but I spend 2 hours doing something I do. I'm doing now a lot of this in Canada. I feel okay. I'm okay. I need some well-served. So how can I still be of some service to people? So I feel very important. All you young people, your life is ahead of you. Okay, explore the world, learn the world, be loving. It's a great adventure. कबीरा खड़ा बाजार में लिए लुकाटे हाथ जो घर जाने अपना वही चले हमारे साथ. I stand at the crossroads of life, the beacon of love and goodness. Only he who dares to set his house on fire can follow. What kind of house? It says only he who dares to set his house on fire can follow. What kind of house? A house which is made into a prison. Don't make your house into a prison. Your body is not a prison. Your house is security, but it's not a prison. You have to open your windows. You have to open your doors so that air can come in, sunshine can come. Your life is like this. Make your house of your body, your being, into an open dimension with doors open, with windows open. And then you'll see, you'll discover love, you'll see service, the wonder of life. If you close it, if you just selfishness, deep, narrow, then you shrink, you get depressed. And so many people say, oh, I'm bored. I say, why are you bored? What is that? Why are you not interested? Why are you bored? So truly, I'm urging you young people or students here or anywhere else. Remember, life is a great adventure. And many times things don't go your way and you get disappointed, you get hurt. But learn how to deal with your hurts. That's part of life. I conduct workshops on forgiveness for many years. Because it's very important how to let go, how to forgive yourself. You've done something right, or how to ask somebody for forgiveness. Say, I'm sorry, I hurt you. It takes courage to say that. And recently, if I may share this story, I was conducting a workshop some 4 or 5 years ago in Canada, and there was one woman, there were about 200 people in the workshop. There was one woman who had not, it was a 3-day workshop, and one woman had not said one word in all the 3 days. And towards the end of the workshop, she stood up, came up at the front. Already she's trembling, crying, and she turns around and she introduces herself. She says, I'm 54 years old. And she looked like a 40-year-old woman, very attractive, young, very attractive. So, and then she said, it happened to me when I was 4 years old. She cries more, trembles more, we all listening to her attention. She said, it happened to me when I was 4 years old. I was sexually abused by my grandfather. And he's dead for 32 years. But I see him every day. Can you imagine? She was 53, had kept this pain in her heart for 50 years. And she looked like she could live for another 40 years. She carried this pain for 50 years, she'll carry it another 40 years if she does not know what to do. Think of it. A person living all his life or her life with pain. So one learns how to get rid of this pain. So recently, about a year ago, I get an email. She says, Professor, you won't remember me. I was in your workshop. My life has changed. From feeling a victim, I have become a savior. I'm a school teacher. Now I hear stories of my students from my school, or girls, boys, what has happened to them, and I help them. And I help, by helping them, I feel I become so strong. Earlier, I was always talking about myself, my pain. I was the center of my pain, and I felt it would never go away. The world is awful, awful, awful place. What an unkind, loved world. And here, by helping out some other young kids who are 8 years old, 9 years old in my school, and hearing their story, helping them, saying, look, get over it. So I say, I feel stronger. So the word she used said, from feeling a victim, I've become a savior. Wonderful. What a wonderful job. So think of yourself. You're not a victim of life. Things happen that are difficult. You're not a victim. You have to feel I'm strong. I'll get over it. So learn how to get over somebody's hurt you or you've hurt somebody. Have the courage to say, I'm sorry. That was wrong. That is inconsiderate of me. That was foolish of me. Okay? Have the courage. And this, I wish people would do this now. Each other. Countries should do it to each other. Last year I was talking at Harvard University. I said, do you know how many people America has killed in Asia in the last 70 years? America has done disasters in the world. America has done disasters in the world. And so, well, how many people, I said, do you have any idea? You have killed more than 20 million people. Americans, in the name of freedom. So save the world from communism or whatever have been trying to save from. Okay? In Vietnam, in Cambodia, in Iraq, in Iran, in Afghanistan, in Korea, in China. There's hardly any country that's left where America has not done disaster. I said, it's about time you reach out to people.
I have learned from experts like Mr. Kamal, Mrs. Judy, and all the doctor, Graham, and the most important is that I have learned so much. And this is what I really keeps me interested in now, learning about cultures, trying to find out interesting facts about cultures helps remarkably to build these bridges and reducing the gaps between between people as much as possible. And that's it.
Thank you very much. Mr. Zakaria, could you show the picture for me and Professor Kumar that I shared with you earlier? And while you're, if it's possible, I would love to, if there is no questions, you have questions?
Thank you so much, Professor Sanakeli from Hassan State University, Faculty of Science. So thank you so much for sharing all information, all wisdom. It's very important. So as younger, I'm not younger, but I take the casket for younger. You say you invite us to explore the world, to explore Asia, to explore India. But for us, maybe we can. But for these people, they haven't money. How they can explore? They want to explore the world, yes. But how? Give them the opportunity. How they can seize the opportunity to explore the world.
Thank you, Professor Sana Al-Filali, for this amazing session. We have less than 5 minutes to leave the room and leave it to another group.
Yeah, it's yes, true. It just costs money to go to other places. But remember, it's becoming a whole lot easier. It's rather than spending money on buying cars or big fancy clothes. Say, think, I want to go explore other resources like this. And also, you can go study somewhere. There are many more opportunities than ever before, truly. So it depends what is important to you. It's important to learn about other people, about other cultures, about other music. 60 years ago, nobody in America or Canada had heard of Indian music. 60 years ago. It was first time in 1962 that a yogi man, a great violinist, brought Ravi Shankar from India. And now people are crazy about Indian music in the West, in Canada. So many universities are teaching music. My daughter is an Indian classical dancer. She said, nobody had heard about Indian classical dance 50 years ago. Now there's so many people want to learn it. So things are breaking down. The cultural barriers are breaking down. And that's how it should be. We are creating a new world order. I think it's a good one. We have to move away from destruction and weapons and wars and create a world of peace.
Thank you very much, Professor Kumar. Thank you guys for being here. I'm interested to share this picture. Why? And I will answer again to Sanat's question. I'm sharing this picture because it's the first picture we took, me and Professor Kumar, and this first time we were talking about wisdom and leadership caravan. It was on the table on the third day of the wedding, because the wedding in India took 3 days. That was the third day. And we were discussing, and I was amazingly surprised by his friends coming all over from Brazil, with whom they're used to organize this kind of events to keep and encourage people to travel. Why I'm saying this? I'm saying this because I want to show you that all what we are trying to do, or build or share, it's about human being relationships. It's about trust. It's about curiosity and open minds. We have to become more open and accept the others. Thank you for reminding us. Other thing is the aim of this wisdom and leadership caravan
caravan, there is a reason why we use a caravan. A caravan usually moves. A caravan usually goes from a region to another. A caravan usually travels. And our dream, and big dream, my big dream, and I believe that my partners now, they're joining me on that. We want, or we are planning to take this caravan from Morocco to another country in Africa next year. So through this caravan, through those different cities, what we do, we choose 5 cities because we want to meet as much as possible of youth, of professionals, of young leaders, of artists, of philosophers, of poets, to bring these cultures, this experience, and choose some ambassadors that will represent Morocco for the next step. So I encourage you and I urge you to assist to those workshops coming up at 3 p.m. this afternoon. You have 5 different workshops, one on art and leadership, one on AI, another one, we have, almost in half hour, another one on civic engagement, and another one on volunteering. If I forgot something, please remind me. And the last one is about sustainability, 5 of them. So please, I encourage you to invite your friends, because we need to mobilize as much as possible of youth, generation Z or Y or X, whatever, we need everyone, because it's about generation. We need to fill the gap between generations. We cannot move forward without our past, without our oldest brothers and sisters and uncles and grandparents and parents. So we need everyone into this journey, and I encourage you to stay connected on our Instagram page, join our WhatsApp group to stay connected for the next steps when we are starting looking for ambassadors to come over with us. And I believe next year, inshallah, if we are still alive, we will be either in those, I will share them with you because there is nothing to hide. Our dream is to take you with us even in Nigeria, Senegal, or Ivory Coast. And the next country of honor will be China. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miriam. Thank you, Professor. Thank you for this beautiful closing on the first morning of this caravan. And now we're about to have a little break, and some of you are going to join their classes, but I hope you've kept as much as possible. Remember, the caravan is starting today, but the team and the panelists and our guests are going to be in Morocco for a few more days. So if anybody is interested, if anybody wants to reach out, if anybody wants to be in touch, remember, they are opened, and there is nothing that has more value than somebody like this that is completely open to be present and give time and attention. Take advantage of this opportunity, and thank you. So we're going to have that break, and then we move on to the workshop. Please come for the photo. Everybody, please join the stage to have a photo together and remember this beautiful moment.